everyone. Welcome to another episode of Rack and Roll, Future Proofing Your Warehouse. I'm Ashley Feldpausch, your host. Today, we're exploring the topic of strategy and warehouse execution and the hidden gap that's between them. I'm excited to be joined by Mark Lewis, VP of Strategy and Advisory Services at Tryon Solutions. Mark, it's a pleasure to have you on with us. Thanks for joining. Could you start by introducing yourself and giving us some background before we jump in?
Yeah, just real quick. Thank you. Mark Lewis, as Ashley said, I'm VP Strategy here at Tryon. I've been doing this about 30 years. I'm an ops guy by degree. I've had enough positions in industry, almost all of them, WM supply chain optimization, et cetera, et cetera. And that's what I bring here to Tryon is to help our clients not just implement a piece of software, we can do that, but figure out what they want to do or what they should do or where they want to be in 5 years and how do I justify that. So I'm excited to be here and excited to talk a little bit about what we're doing.
Absolutely. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. And it's that alignment piece that is a big theme right now with organizations trying to, align their goals with the operations. Especially as companies start to invest more in their transformation initiatives. So let's start there with transformation initiatives. When an organization says that they have a solid supply chain strategy, what assumptions are they usually making and where do those assumptions tend to break down?
Mostly it's in future unknowns and planning for something. It would be really easy if I know that it's going to be stable, I'm going to be stable, et cetera, for 5 years. Not too hard, right? But it's like dynamic of the economy, particularly right now, without going into too much. There's a lot of dynamics in the economy right now. And the hardest part is balancing maybe a vision you might have in your head of where you want to be with how to get there and to lay out a change management plan over the next, whatever it might be, 5 years, and balance the dynamics of where you're at, the dynamics of the marketplace, and the future unknown, and a deep understanding of not only your current structure, but where you want to be in 5. And what breaks down is just not understanding the unknowns, if you will. I think that's the hardest part to deal with.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's not really that the strategy is wrong, it's that the operating environment has challenges to it. And I know that's kind of your role is to help align all those together.
It is because I can know where, at least generally, and I can think, well, I'd love to be here in 5 years. But if you look right now, environment we're in, trying to figure out where we're going to be in 6 months is hard enough, much less 5 years.
Yeah. Like AI has taken storm, and I feel like people are wondering and trying to learn so much right now. And that's just one part of it all. So the world is, ever changing. And like you said, it's not in a year, it's 6 months from now, what is going to change or how can we do better? So why do well-planned initiatives so often struggle once they hit real warehouse operations?
2 main ones, and I've done these types of the years. One is a clear expectation on the end state. This is what I'm going to do. So if you have a 5-year plan, to do this I'm going to buy it off a piece that you bought. Exactly. What is the success? What is my end state, and how do I declare victory on that? Having defined to get there. But then, as we said, and I think this is what I see, is it's easy to understand what that future state looks like. You can write that down on paper. But the change management aspect of internal structural changes, I'll be honest, sometimes internal personnel changes. The internal change management is the hardest part, period. The systems and the software, they're going to work. I mean, unless you've really messed up with your selection, they're going to be fine. It's the operational processes and the internal resources and the change management that is required. That is by far the biggest burden to a successful project, I think.
Yeah, that is a key point. And it's not the technology doesn't struggle, like you said, it's the people and how you come together to use that technology. So when strategy and execution start to separate, what are the earliest warning signs leaders should be watching for?
Delays. I mean, if I have to put it that way, I'll give you an example. Working on right now, great client, happy, and it's going to be very successful. All right, this is just a month evaluation to give them the level strategy. We had set up just a couple of weeks to get the data to understand so we can help with this change. And within the first week, some of the data that we expected wasn't coming, right? And it's no fault of anybody. It just takes a while. The moment you start to see delays in a project, whether it be lack of, nobody really wants to give you the data. So you're starting to just these subtle delays. I was supposed to have something obvious. I was supposed to have put away turned on at the 1st of March, and now it's still not turned. I can guarantee you there are major underlying factors when you're seeing that, and it's usually lack of cohesion buy-in. That goes back to change management. You could have hundreds of stakeholders, maybe you're 10 stakeholders, but you're affecting 100 or 200 people in the distribution center, maybe. You have to have buy-in all the way down. And when you don't get it, as it starts to roll up, you try to run this project, just starts slipping. Immediately, I have learned as soon as stuff starts slipping, you need to get your ears up because that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I love that example. And it's like, how is it supposed, or it's not how is it supposed to work, it's versus how it actually works. And that's that data that helps you make those informed decisions. So before organizations invest in AI or automation or a major system change, what questions should they be asking to pressure test whether their strategy is truly ready?
I think the biggest one, just up and above everything else, is why. Just why am I thinking about this? Because there's pressure to change, sometimes for change's sake, to adopt technologies. Just talking about the technology, I'll use an example of AI. And I've got to have some AI. Okay, but what does that mean exactly? Specifically, what are you going to get out of it? All news, if you'll listen to everybody, we use AI embedded in. I may buy that software, not buying it for the AI. The AI is just a tool to help get there. And I have seen technologies and operational processes literally since the 1980s. I am that old, where a new thing will be hot into it. And, we should be doing this. And like, not really. So by far and away, what you need to define is just why. Why am I doing it? Why do I think I need to get this done? And what is the benefit I'm going to get out of it? Where do I come out the other end? And why am I better? And if you do not know that, just implicitly defined, there's a problem because you just don't have it locked in. And then, of course, you have to do the ROI, the detailed cost. You can approach that two ways. You can figure out, I think it ought to be this much and double it, because that's probably going to be about right. But spend a lot of money and time, and I don't mean that relatively a lot of money, but spend and time front to look at that. ROI in place. Find where you're going to be. Overall, pressure test it, define it, get into the details early. Do not do something on the industry people are trying to sell you on something. It's just a bad way to start a project.
Absolutely. I think certainly, it's easy to get excited about new things, and everybody should get excited about new things. But like you said, really diving deep into what it does for your specific organization can help you answer those questions if it's going to be successful or not. If you could give leaders one piece of advice to improve outcomes before problems show up, what would that advice be?
Well, to reiterate a couple of things I just said, but the last one's going to be the most important. But do your homework up front. Know if you're a leader and you want something to do, and you're like, I am a visionary. I want it to be over here. Awesome. That's shake and grow. But do your homework. hard evaluation of the ROI, the cost, et cetera, to get there and get a defined plan. Now, that's just a read of what's said. The last piece, if you are the leader, if you're the stakeholder, if you're the person who's the calls, right? You're the person who's fronting up the money, et cetera. Hold your people accountable. And I mean at levels. Hold your operations people accountable to do the job, be able to change and do the job differently. You cannot keep doing it way, or else why are we doing that again? But also at an executive level, you will find sometimes when truly strategically changing the company, unfortunately, there are many individuals that just aren't going to get it. They're just not, and you need to be willing to hold those people accountable, and maybe have to have a little space meeting with, are you going to buy into this, or are we going to have to part ways? And that's at all levels. I had a project. It's getting close to 10 years now, but it personally bothers me. We had an SVP of supply chain that just wanted to do it, and they would never move him out. And I specifically bluntly had to say, this is never going to pass if he's in that position, and I'm sorry, it's just not going to. That one did fail, but it wasn't without, and it was specific because everything had been done right to that point, and we knew the objectives, we knew the cost. It was very, very well planned, et cetera, but during the execution, we weren't willing to hold people accountable, and the thing failed. So I think that is, do your homework, but once it starts going, you may have some changes if there's people not buying in.
Absolutely, yeah. If everyone doesn't have that collective continuous alignment mindset, that can be an issue for the project to move forward and be successful. So thank you, Mark, for joining us today. I really appreciate your insights around this topic. And thank you, everybody else, for joining on this edition of Rack and Roll. We hope you found today's discussion insightful. If you have any questions or would like to learn more, please feel free to reach out. Our contact information is provided in the description below. Until next time, stay innovative and keep future-proofing your warehouse. Bye.